People, welcome back to the show. What I'm about to share with you is one of the most impactful speeches I think I've ever given on a stage. This is actually from Fund Launch Live 2. We had about over 2,000 people in the audience, fund managers from all around the world that flew in. And what I dive into is all about how to build yourself as in the process of hook, story, and offer. And what I talk about has absolutely changed my life. It's changed the way I've looked at the world, how I approach risk and reward, how I approach business, how I approach hiring people, how I approach doing things in my life that may seem scary. And it's actually helped me produce my first hedge fund, my two other previous debt funds, how I've launched subsequent funds, done partnerships, deals, joined mastermind groups, has all come back to kind of this central thesis and focus of my life on how I approach risk. Hope you guys enjoy. Let me know, subscribe, comment down below what you think, but right now we'll roll over to the clip from Fund Launch Live. You have an awesome hook, you have a great story, and you have a great offer. So I want to tell you a little story. Is that okay with you guys? A little story time. So right here, this is a picture of my beautiful mom. Right here, she's sitting front row, which is awesome. This is my beautiful mom. I actually served a 2-year church mission. I went to Taiwan. I spoke Chinese. It was amazing. This is actually the moment I got home. The first time I'd hugged my mom in 2 years. This is her, beautiful mom. And she gave me some fantastic advice. So this part of my life, I came home and I was hungry. I wanted to get into business. I wanted to get married, etc. And my mom gave me some amazing advice. By the way, just side note, my mom, while my dad was starting all of his businesses, you guys know my dad and stuff, my mom actually, during that time, they weren't making a lot of income because it was, you know how entrepreneurs are, you're up and down. My mom goes and starts a teeth whitening business on Overstock.com. Remember Overstock.com? I think it's still around. Was the top selling teeth whitening product on Overstock.com, was kind of the breadwinner to fill the gap while my dad was launching business, scaling, to bring it in. My mom just said, you know what? I got 3 kids. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm just going to make some money, bring home some bacon. Isn't that kind of cool? Clap it up for my mom. Isn't that incredible? So cool. And I'm the product, and I 100% have 2 amazing parents. You guys are amazing. I love you so much. Thank you for being incredible parents and individuals. So this is my cute mom here on this picture, and she gave me some phenomenal advice. Let me take you back. I think I'm 20 in this picture, 21 years old. And I wanted to get married and date and stuff. She gave me some great advice. She said this, Bridger, when you're dating, make sure you have a really good first kiss story because you'll tell that story 1,000 times. True or not true? True or not true? True. Ladies in the room, true or not true? True, okay? Pretty good advice. If you're going to have a love story, make sure it's good. Yeah? And so I remember internalizing this advice, and the night I got home, actually, I wanted to get out with my friends. I hadn't seen my friends in, 2 years. So I was like, let's go hang out, etc. We get together, and this group of girls comes over at this place, and I see this girl. I was like, whoa, she's gorgeous. Now, I knew who this was. Her name was Lauren, and we actually lived on the same street, 7 doors down. But I didn't know her like this. I was like, wow, she's really grown up in the last 2 years. She's gorgeous. Who is this girl? And I got to go out with her. I got to date her, etc. And so we start dating, we start going out, all this kind of stuff. This is actually a picture of it's kind of an embarrassing photo, our very first date. Look at how awkward we are. And I don't want to throw it up. This is a terrible picture, but this is our first date. We're in Park City out there, and we went out, and it was amazing. And I was like, man, this girl's super cute. We had known her family the whole life. And so we started dating, and we started progressing, and we were building up to where we was kind of, should we date, should we not date? And I didn't want to jump into this relationship because our families knew each other so well. Does that kind of make sense? I didn't want to if I was going to date her, I was really was going to be all in. And so we started dating. It was to the point where it's like, hey, we hadn't kissed at all or anything. It's like, okay, we either need to kiss and progress or we need to stop hanging out. It was kind of to that point. You guys know what I mean? And so I hit this point. I'm like, okay, I think I want to go in this relationship. She's beautiful, gorgeous, amazing. And so I remembered back to what my mom said. What'd she say, right? Have a really good first kiss because you're going to tell that story a lot of times. And so I remember it was a Saturday night. We had planned this date. She was going to come over to my house. We were going to watch a movie together. And I was like, maybe I'll kiss her during the movie or whatever. And I'm like, that's kind of a lame story, but I don't know what else. I'm like, what do I do? And so I would get home from this thing. And by the way, I'm living at home at the time. It was between college and stuff. And she was at home as well. And so I go and I get home and I text her, hey, you want to come over? She's like, yeah, I'll be over in 10 minutes. And my mom goes, Bridger, what are you doing? You don't text a girl to come over. You go to her house and you pick her up. Good or bad advice? Pretty good advice. Clap it up for my mom, okay? You don't text a girl. You go to her house, you pick her up on a date. And I was like, yeah, okay, what am I doing? So I text her back, hey, I'm coming over, stay at your house, I'm going to come pick you up. And I look outside, and and it's raining. Ooh. And it's one of those warm summer rains. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm like, oh, I got an idea. I grab an umbrella, put it up, and I start walking outside because she's only 7 doors down. So I go to my house, I walk down to the street, I get to her house, and I go to her front door, knock on the door, and Lauren comes to the door and goes, hey, she goes, what are we doing? I'm like, oh, we're going to go in the rain. It's a beautiful night. So she comes out in the rain. We start walking. We're talking. We're laughing, giggling. I pull out my phone, play a little John Mayer. I put it in my front pocket. So we start dancing in the street. So we're dancing. I'm swinging her around in the rain, this beautiful summer rain. We're dancing, walking down the street. We're laughing, giggling. It's like it's out of a movie. I'm not embellishing the story at all. It's 100% true. We are dancing, having a great time. And I'm sitting there. If there's ever a time to kiss a girl, it is right now. You know what I mean? And my heart's like, oh, I'm starting to pound. I'm like, okay, I got to figure this out somehow. So finally, we get to the front of my house. We walk down the whole street. We get there, and we're in front of my house. I'm like, okay, this is do or die. I'm here. And so we're spinning around, and we get to this point, and she kind of swings, and I'll go this way. So I'm on the curb area, and I get her closer to me, and I grab her and kind of pull her close, okay? We make eye contact, and like it's the moment. You know the moment? Like it's there. We're like right here. And I pull out a line. Don't use a line, gentlemen, but I used a line. And I said, hey, Lauren, I think we got caught in the rain. And she's right here, and she kind of laughs. She goes, ha, and then she just keeps dancing. She's dancing around like this, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? But she realized what was going on, so she quickly came back, and we got here again, and then I hit her a second time. I said, Lauren, I think we really got caught in the rain. And I kind of give her some big eyes. She goes, oh. And then I put her hair behind her ear. I pull her in. We have this amazing first kiss. Just sparks flew. It was phenomenal. It's amazing. And you can clap it up for that. It's pretty cool, right? And then we continue to date. It's amazing. This awesome. It was we just, you know when you click with somebody, that's just how it was. We just clicked. It just took off. It was amazing. About 6 months later, we're in the same spot. It's snowing now outside. Same spot outdoors. Same curb spot right there. And I say, Lauren, first time I told her I loved her. So I think we got caught in the snow this time. And first time I told her I loved her, same spot, which is pretty cool. Fast forward, she ended up serving a mission for our church as well. Went to Portugal, which was really cool. Came back home. We started dating. And it was to the point where we both wanted to get married. So this is a couple years fast forward. And I thought, man, I got to propose. I got to make this thing epic. Where should I propose? What do you guys think? The same spot, right? So literally it's springtime now, and I'm like, hey, we're going to do it. I made sure her nails were done. I made her dress up for some stupid reason. Like, oh, we got something going on. You got to dress up all nice. And we end up walking down the street again, and we're reminiscing. So we're back on the street. We're walking together, holding hands, reminiscing about the same spot. We get to the point where we had our first kiss. First time I told her I love her. She gets there, and we're kind of talking, and then out of nowhere, fireworks go off. Like real fireworks. Boom, 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 boom. She turns up and looks. She's like, oh my gosh. And she's shocked. She's kind of scared. Like, whoa, there's fireworks. Like, what's going on? She turns around and I'm on one knee like this. Boom. Will you marry me? She turns around and we kiss and hug. She says, yes, this is actually, and by the way, I had hidden her family and friends and my family all in the houses and cars around. So in the bushes, everyone pops out and goes, congrats, hey, whatever. And we're surrounded by people. This is actually a picture of us right there, getting engaged. That's in front of the house I grew up. That's my door that I grew up on. Pretty good. You can clap that up. That's pretty cool, hey? She said yes, and it was fantastic. And actually, I don't know if my wife's going to notice. I would love to have you come on stage. So, Lauren, can you come over here? I want you guys to see my beautiful wife, Lauren. Actually, is Jonah here? So we've now been married, coming up on 4 years. And if we can get Jonah on stage right over here, which is awesome. This is the fruits of an amazing woman. It's hard to be an entrepreneur's wife, especially an entrepreneur that goes on stage and puts themselves on camera. It's kind of tricky. So with that, give a huge round of applause to Lauren. And there's Jonah. What's going on? Hello. How you doing? Oh, don't be scared. Say hi. Can you wave at everybody? Wave at everybody. Can you wave? There's Grandma Jane. Papa, he's called Papa John at our house. Papa, say hi to Papa John. Oh, it's kind of fun. He's a little nervous. Hey, you're okay, yeah. Oh, we'll get a picture, I guess. I get that right here.
Oh. Can I go?
There we go. Hey, I just want to say before you go, it is tough to be an entrepreneur's wife.
Yes.
And thank you so much. None of this would come to be. None of the people would be here without you. And I love little Jonah as well. So you're amazing, Lauren. I love you so much.
Love you.
Clap it up for my beautiful wife and son here. That is 100% true. And it's amazing being in a relationship when you're on a team with somebody. Garrett's going to talk about this tomorrow in depth. I'm so excited for you to hear Garrett on stage. It's going to be amazing. Now, with that amazing story, it's all true, by the way. I want to share this as a powerful concept, though, that actually Steve Larson taught me. He said he met, anybody know Tony Robbins in here? He goes, he actually met, this is a story from Steve. He goes, I met Tony Robbins, and Tony taught him a powerful thing. He said, Steve, you are your greatest hook. You, who you are. Who would love to have a love story like that? Anybody in the room? All the ladies are like, yeah, I love it my husband would do that. I would love that. Like they're like bumping their boyfriend, etc., right? Well, guess what? You can. Guess what? That story, that's actually my story. It's not made up. But I envisioned it, I built that story. I had a desire for my mom. My mom told me, write a great love story and then make it come to be. And we have a great love story because I decided that I was going to have a great love story. You guys following along? Is this kind of making sense? And ta-da, we have this really cool, and by the way, that's like we have 10 other stories that are just all these cool stories with our love story. We made it kind of epic. And in the back of my brain, I was like, I want to have an epic love story. Because guess what? At dinner parties, the rest of our lives, people are going to ask us, how did you guys meet? What was your first kiss? And I was like, I want to have a cool story to tell. Yeah? If you're with me, say yes. This is a powerful concept that you are your greatest hook. A lot of you want to speak on stage next year, and I love that. I actually want you to come speak. The people who speak on stage, guess what they have? A really good hook, and they live their hook. Who was here for Tim Ballard last night? What an amazing talk. Tim Ballard, by the way, we raised over $115,000 last night for OUR. Clap it up for you guys. That's amazing. Incredible organization. And we'll keep that going in the back of the room, etc., for the rest of the event. We'll call Tim at the end and tell him how much we raised, which is pretty cool. But Tim Ballard, what's his hook? Do you remember from last night? He had a government job that he left because he could only save American children. He couldn't save all the other children. So he left his job, started a private organization that would go save children all over the world from sex trafficking and sex slavery and organ harvesting. Saved 6,000 kids so far. The reason Tim comes and speaks on stages on Good Morning America writing books, because guess what? He lives his hook. He is his hook. Is this kind of making sense? Another guy, Ed Milet, you're going to hear him tomorrow morning. First speaker tomorrow morning, by the way. You better wake up. Set your alarms. Ed Milet's going to light this place on fire. You better set your alarms. He is amazing. He lives his hook. Have you ever heard Ed Milet speak before? He is his hook. Even me. I live my hook. I'm guessing there's a reason a lot of you came today. You're like, there's this kid we heard of that runs these funds that has this dad, and his dad turned him down for money. I got to see this guy in person. Really, though. That's my hook. You guys know my story. That's my hook. I live my hook. The reason I speak on stage, we have an event, because I live my hook. My challenge to you guys is to live your hook. Is this kind of making sense? Another example I want to share. This is actually a childhood friend of mine. She's now world famous. Her name's Kelsey. And she was just a normal mom. Any moms in the room? Raise the hands. Clap it up for the moms of the room. Holy crap. Watching my wife do that whole thing, it's unreal. So clap it up for the mothers of the room. She was a mom, and I think she had 2 babies at the time, or 2 kids already, and she was feeling a little flabby, as moms do after postpartum. And so she did what a lot of women do, like, I'm going to diet, I'm going to starve myself to death. So she did it. This is a picture of her at 145 pounds. And she felt like she was flabby. I think she looks great, but she felt like she was flabby. So she decided to lose 20 pounds. And she actually did it. It's pretty cool. So she loses the weight, she starves herself, diets, and she still is feeling a little flabby. So then she loses another 5 pounds. Okay? This is actually a picture of her down if you can see at the top. So it's 145 in the first picture, 122 in the second picture, poundage. And she's like, I still don't feel healthy. I don't feel strong. I don't feel all these things. So she goes, and this time she started like blogging. She again had no following. Nobody knew who she was, but she's like started to put this out on social media. Like, I don't feel like this is working for us women, just to starve the pounds off of you. So she goes, you know what? I'm going to try an interesting experiment. I'm going to put on 20 pounds of muscle. I'm going to eat protein. I'm going to work out. I don't care about my weight. I'm going to feel strong and fit and healthy. This is her at 140 pounds. The first and last picture are the same weight. Interesting. You clap that up. Sorry, clap it up. That's pretty cool, right? And a lot of women resonated with this hook. Like why are we starving ourselves to death? We should be healthy. We should work out. We should be strong. Same picture, same weight, totally different outcome. Interesting, right? And all of a sudden, ta-da, she's on Good Morning America. She's writing books. She has over 2 million followers on Instagram, makes millions of dollars a year as a fitness influencer person online. She was honest. We knew her growing up. We know her family very well. Her name's Kelsey Wells. You can go look her up. She was a normal person, just like any of us, and decided to live her hook. Is this kind of making sense? If you're with me, say yes. Yeah. Another cool example. There's a lady in New York that had a hard time dating. She felt like she was too old. Like she's like, I should be married by this point. Anybody ever felt that? Maybe inside you can raise your hand if you ever felt that. But it felt like she was too old to be still dating in New York City. And so she said, I'm going to do an experiment. Had no followers, nothing. She said, I'm going to go on 30 dates in 30 days with 30 different men, and I'm going to plan the dates and invite the men out. Kind of cool. So she starts writing this little blog and starts posting about it. Every date she would go on, she'd invite a man out, she'd go on the date, she'd plan it, and she'd write a little blog about how it went. Day 1, day 2, day 3. She goes all the way to day 30. And actually, crazy enough, day 30, she goes on a date with a guy that she really hits it off with, keeps dating him, gets married to the guy. Writes it all. She blows up into a huge success, writes a New York Times best-selling book, goes on Good Morning America, etc., the whole tour. Why? Because she had an amazing what? A hook. She lived her hook. She just created one. Is that kind of making sense? Now, Bridger, what if I fail? What if my hook doesn't work? We live in a world, even if you fail, make it epic. We literally live in this kind of crazy world. If you fail, just make it a really good story and you'll do well. Anybody know this guy on the screen? Jordan Belfort. Now, I don't condone this story at all, but I'm just saying, what's the worst possible scenario? Let's say you start a fund. Worst possible scenario. It's fraudulent. You do pretty much everything. You go to jail. You go to federal prison. That's pretty bad, right? Let's just say worst case possible scenario, you end up like Jordan Belfort. Anybody want to take a guess of his net worth in 2023? It's actually a good guess, $115 million. And that's after paying back. He lost like $58 million down the whole federal prison, etc., because he failed in such an epic way. We like to hire him to speak and see sales trainings and go on, make it epic. Does that mean? Now, I don't condone what this guy did, but it drives home a point. A lot of us are so scared to take a chance, take something. We're so scared to fail. And typically, if we fail, just make it kind of epic. Another great example. Anybody know this guy? Adam Newman, WeWork, founder of WeWork. What happened to WeWork? We crashed. They made a whole documentary. We crashed. Worst case scenario, man. Imagine a company, you're on public TV, your company's failing. That'd be pretty bad, right? Huge failure. Do you guys know he just launched a new company? Anybody heard of this? It's called Flow. They just raised $350 million for this company. Who would have invested with this guy in this group? A couple people, maybe, I don't know. He failed before. Well, he just raised $350 million. Andreessen Horowitz was the lead investor. One of the most famous funds of all time in Silicon Valley invested with this guy after a failure. Why? Because we love people that have drive, vision, incredible hook. Now, some of us may say, I would have never invested in that. Well, maybe, you have your own opinion, but Andreessen Horowitz, some of the smartest people on planet Earth invested with them, so maybe they know something that we don't know. Interesting. Is that kind of making sense? If we live in a world, make it epic. So when I was in school, I was in college, I learned this principle. I actually had a friend that worked at Google, and he said this. He goes, you wouldn't believe how many former Olympians, college athletes, and entrepreneurs I work with. And by former, he kind of means failed. Because a former entrepreneur is essentially a failed entrepreneur, right? He goes, but Google loves to hire them. A former Olympian is kind of someone maybe they kind of made the Olympic team or they got like a low rank or whatever, but they were an Olympian. He goes, Google loves to hire people that have drive, that have gone after something. Even if they failed, we love seeing that. Is this kind of making sense? If you're with me, say yes. So I actually took this to my career. A lot of you guys know my story. How many businesses did I start my first years of college? 6. I started all these companies. Why? Because I knew even if I made money, so outcomes, if I made money, great, I made money. If I fail, I've got a really cool story to tell. And companies want to interview a kid that has a cool story. Does that kind of make sense? And evidently it worked. This is a pictures of me getting recruited out to Cisco headquarters, Walmart e-commerce headquarters, Meta headquarters, and Tesla headquarters. They flew us out. They wanted me to come, they wanted to hire me. Why? Because I had a really good hook. I started these businesses. They're like, who's this kid in college? He's raised hundreds of $1,000s for a fund. He had these businesses. He had 7 tutors at a Chinese tutoring company. Like, we got to interview this kid. Is that kind of making sense? I live my hook. You write your own story. We write our own stories. Look at this. We've talked about this before. Mason and I spent $150,000 on a mastermind program. We've talked about this multiple times, this event. When we were sitting in a group like this, and we got pitched this thing, we're like, should we join? And I always look at things like, okay, if I spend 150, will I make back at least 150 or more? 250, 300. We actually thought, we're like, you know what? Yeah, the connections we'll make, the people we'll meet over the course of a year, 3 years, 5 years, I think we'll make more than 150 grand. But then I told Mason, I said, let's just say worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, it's terrible. It sucks. It's just awful. This is not worth our time, money, effort. If we make a YouTube video that says, I joined a group for 150 grand, it was sucked, I got ripped off, who would watch that video? Decent hook, right? A lot of you guys. So we're like, either way, we win. If it's awesome, we make money. If we lose, it's a really good story. I'll write a book. I'll talk on stage about how I spent 150 grand and it sucked. Yeah? Is this kind of making sense? If you're with me, say yes. Okay, you write your own story. But Bridger, it's too risky, right? I don't know. I want to share a really cool video here. Anybody know Jim Rohn? Jim Rohn. Oh, okay, some Jim Rohn fans. Make some noise for Jim Rohn, everybody. Pretty cool, okay? Tony Robbins' original teacher, this is him. I'm actually going to play a video. I want you to hear his voice. I love his voice. I've actually studied him as a speaker. He's an incredible speaker. I wanted to mimic him and awesome. He's amazing. So audio team, if you get the sound up, we're going to play this video from Jim Rohn. Sound good? All right, here we go.
I used to say, what if this happens? It's called the language of the poor. What if this happens? And on top of that, if this was to happen, look at the fix I'd be in. I better not try. I could always ace myself out. Then I'll tell you what changed my whole life when I finally discovered it's all risky. The minute you were born, it got risky. If you think trying is risky, wait till they hand you the bill for not trying. If you think investing is risky, wait till you get the tab for not investing. See, it's all risky. Getting married is risky. Having children is risky. Going into business is risky. Investing your money is risky. It's all risky. I'll tell you how risky life is. You're not going to get out alive.
True or not true? True, right? I love that. I love his voice, and Jim Rohn's amazing. But what's more epic, right, than raising a fund that's going to go out and change the world like we talked about yesterday? What's more epic of a story than that? When you got your grandkids around you one day and you're talking to them, Grandma, Grandpa, how'd you guys take over? He said, we started a fund. We went and we conquered and we did this whole thing. Is that kind of making sense? Additionally, I've never seen, I don't know about you guys, I've never seen someone put their time, effort, and energy into something and fail. I really haven't. Have you ever seen somebody put their full focus, time, energy, and attention to something and fail? Us humans are incredible people. We can create and shape our future as long as we are focused on something. We're actually remarkable beings. There's this cool book called